It's round 2 of the Superside FIM Sidecar World Championship. This weekend the circus comes to the UK, and we're in the southwest of England in Wiltshire and the picturesque setting of Castle Combe. Well, this is the first ever World Championship event at the 55-year-old circuit here at Castle Combe, 1.85 miles, very fast but very, very bumpy, Kenny.
Yeah, passengers having a lot of problems during the early sessions. We've had passengers fall out because, as you say, it is so bumpy. But it's the two Finns that lead the championship coming here today. Of course, the British pairing of Tim and Tristan Reeves currently sitting there in second place with Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance down there in 6th. We caught up with the pair of them, asked them what they thought the circuit here at Castle Combe.
It is very bumpy, but personally, I think it's good fun. Yeah, and you know, the people here seem to love it, and yeah, I think hopefully we can put on a good show for them.
Hopefully if we can get a good start and get away, might we have to hang on the back of Tim for a little while, you never know.
Well, there's championship leader number 88 Mannanen, not very happy on the track. Ben and Tom Birchall, the young brothers from the UK, they're carrying out onboard camera for this first sprint race. Great qualifying for the brothers. They qualified in 8th position in only their first full season of World Championship racing. The light's about to go out and we're underway.
So we're looking from the front of Birchall and Birchall's outfit, and as you can see already they're being cut up and sliced up as we've discussed earlier, and of course Tim Reeves confirmed the track here is very bumpy, you can see by the amount of bounce on the camera, but it's the number 36 outfit of Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell, Team Lockside Racing from Castle, who lead them away, but Ian, they're all beginning to bunch up back there.
Yeah, it's tight round that first corner. What a weekend for Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell, leading their first World Championship race. And 4 days ago they were racing to second place in the Isle of Man TT, so I can imagine they're a bit knackered.
Yeah, and don't forget they're on an F1 outfit. Somebody's on Birchall's going grass cutting, yeah. Well,
tight on this first lap, obviously just got a bit out wide. Birchall just getting back on the track in the background. Number 88 there, Mannanen, Muldoon in there as well. And that's the Austrian Jos Moser and Yulo Waffler on the Team Tyrrell Delta machine. Well, they qualified in 4th position, great considering they'd never seen the circuit before, but not a lot of time before this event, just 2 qualifying sessions, so the Brits really dominating at the moment in the race, and looking like Laidlow making a move on Norbury, and we've got Moser on the grass as well.
Good job it's dry.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't like to think that in the wet, and yes, Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance now in the lead of this race. Just look at the bumps coming up into that first corner. And Tim and Tristan Reeves now looking to put a move on Steve Norbury, forcing their way through.
And through.
Well, great shots from Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell. As I say, 2 second places in the Isle of Man TT, then rushing straight back here to Castle Combe. Qualified on the front row of the grid, now holding 3rd position, but the front 2 beginning to streak away.
Also has to be remembered that Steve Norbury was on an F2 outfit in the Isle of Man, not an F1 outfit, so a big difference between the power and the handling characteristics of those 2 machines, so readjusting back to this F1 outfit here at Castle Combe for the young man from Castleford. As you say, good scrap going on. Looks like Reeves has decided to wake himself up, so the defending world champion, the 2 brothers Tim and Tristan Reeves, beginning to pile on the pressure as we look back.
Mannanen and Koisman and championship leaders not having a happy weekend here at Castle Combe, and they've messed up that tight final chicane, losing a place there, but not too bad. Stuart Muldoon it was going through, and now we're back with Ben and Tom Birchall recovering from their grass tracking incident. Well, they're down in about 10th or 11th position, I think, at the moment, and they've got a lot of work to do.
Looks like Reeves has now pushed his way through into the lead, yes indeed, with Andy Laidlow, Patrick Farrance there on Team LFR GBR from Appleby. They're both Suzuki outfits, so there's no real difference. Number 5 in amongst that little group as well, as the rest come pouring through. Jerry Martin there and Ryan Charlwood.
Yeah, Jerry Martin minus nose cone, so there's been a bit of contact on that opening lap with the local boys there. They're having their first World Championship event as a wild card. There's Stuart Woodard and Wayne Stevens in the mix as well on that Windle Yamaha. Now they got Milan Spendel behind them, but Reeves here is out front. Laidlow not letting him get away.
Andy Laidlaw, of course, giving up everything last year, selling his house to become a professional sidecar driver, and got himself on the podium last year for the first time in his career, and be looking to do much, I think, the same here this year.
Yeah, he's definitely pressing Tim and Tristan harder, looking for a way through into that temporary chicane for the motorbikes, and he's really not giving Reeves an easy time of it. Laidlaw and Farrance, of course, another one that have just come back from the TT. Not such a success. They were holding third position when they blew an engine, but back with Ben and Tom Birchall, and that's Bill Philp and Rick Long in front of them. Bill Philp, we thought had retired, been drafted back into the Team Hanny racing squad for his first race for about 8 months, so putting on a good show at the moment, Kenny.
Yeah, well, Bill Philp, of course, the owner of Berkshire Motorcycles down there in Slough. You want to check out Bill's shop, get yourself some bits and pieces. Specialises mostly in scooters and all sorts of bits, but Bill making a return to racing for this year after telling us last year he was going to go Rover Cup racing or something, but obviously the smell of 3 tyres is better than the feeling of 4.
Yeah, Bill's actually been doing the Mini Cooper Challenge and did all right in the first few races, but I guess the lure is with 3 wheels, and nice to have him back in the championship, that's for sure.
Former British champion, of course, Bill Philp. Effectively, we don't have, as one would describe, a British Championship here in the UK at the moment, which is a crying shame, because we really do need a sidecar British Championship. However, the World Championship appears to be getting bigger. We're getting more and more entries per year, and the whole circus is becoming more professional. Yeah, and certainly a lot bigger to look at.
This is a great scrap for 6th position, I think, and looks like Roger Lovelock, Rick Lawrence in there as well, ahead of Bill Philp. I think Gary and Dan Knight, the father and son team from Macclesfield, and that looks like Lovelock making a bit of a mess of the chicane. Now, is this a chance for Ben and Tom Birchall to pounce on these 2 ahead of them?
Well, they're certainly having a look up the inside, and it's going to go hard on the brakes, but they're not going to make it there, that's for sure. But that chicane seems to be playing havoc with quite a few of our drivers. Yeah,
it's a very fast approach, and this circuit really quick. I mean, 16 years ago the lap record was 102 miles an hour, which is why they had to put in the chicanes to slow it down a bit. Dan Morrissey and Rob Biggs on the number 99 Team Advan machine, but it is Gary and Dan Knight holding that 7th position ahead of Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence. Roger Lovelock from Marlborough, just down the road, so very much the local favourite here at Castle Combe. Ben and Tom Birchall still trying to put that move on Bill Philp. Very difficult place to overtake, get off line. Even more bumpy than it is on the racing line.
I suppose the grass might be a bit smoother. They've already tried that one.
Yeah, that didn't seem to work for them. Put them down a few places, didn't it?
Because Rick Lawrence is the passenger that has a habit of doing headstands in the sidecar at the end of the race.
Yeah, hopefully if they get a good result, we'll see that as well. But well, great shot from Ben and Tom, and now looks like Lovelock did get past Gary and Dan Knight. Let's see how tight that chicane is. It's just ridiculous, really. Jerry Martin and Ryan Charlwood there. Gordon Shand and Stuart Graham, the Scotsman and the man from Northern Ireland. On the Kawasaki, they're going well. But Tim and Tristan Reeves beginning to eke out a bit of a lead from Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance.
So the 2 Eastern Airways runners from Larkfield on Suzuki. Tim, and Tristan, his brother, the current world sidecar FIM champions, still retaining that number 77. There's a good reason for that, isn't there, Ian?
Yeah, Tim's hero was, of course, the late great Barry Sheen, who ran the number 7. And Tim's partner is Paula, the niece of Barry Sheen.
And so that's hence the 77, is it?
Something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, we'll remember Barry and the great loss to motorcycle racing.
But look, Laidlow and Farrance definitely not letting Tim and Tristan Reeves get away. They're putting on the pressure. Steve Norbury, Scott Parnell third ahead of Richard Gatt and Paul Randall. Number 66, Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton closing in 4th, 5th position there.
You can see the way those outfits are undulating as they hit the bumps and humps here at this Castle Combe circuit. They have motorcycle racing here, they also have car racing here, so the surface does get a good bashing over the racing years.
Yeah, and these sidecars, not a lot of suspension on them, and you can see the passengers bouncing up and down. They've had to put extra padding in those leathers. little bits of foam to prevent some of the bruises, not all of them, but some of the bruises, and really is physical for the passengers.
So a good little battle going on here at the moment. Steve Norbury on the 36 outfit with Scott Parnell in the chair, holding off the attention of the man behind him, Richard Gatt and Paul Randall. But as we wait for the race leader, there he is, Tim and Tristan Reeves. They're going to come through to win this one. Checkered flag hurriedly waved at them as they put their hand up to acknowledge the cheers of the crowd. So that's this one done and dusted. Reeves back on top once again.
Yeah, Norbury there just going across the line in third position. Great result for them. Tim and Tristan Reeves taking the applause of the crowd for that race victory. Laidlaw Ferrance in second position. Norbury and Parnell their first podium third. Gatt and Randall fourth. Muldoon and Napton fifth. Moser and Waffler, the best of the foreign contingent, in sixth. Philp and Long seventh on their return.
So Howard Strawford, their chairman of Castle Combe Circuits Limited, hands the trophy to the winners, and the media get the pictures. Let's catch up with some of the riders, see what they thought of the race.
Came back from the Isle of Man, and I said we'll go to Castle Combe. We'll see how it pans out. If it starts to get, if we feel too tired or whatever else, or things start going wrong with the bike, we'll just throw the towel in. I mean, Schleitz did the TT and then straight to here. It's enough for anybody.
It's really tough work out there, especially for the passenger, especially with all the bumps and whatever. But yeah, I mean, really enjoyed the race. The 10 laps seemed to go fairly quick. Just looking forward to the next one now.
Yeah, Reeves, he's fast, you can't deny he's fast, but we had same lap times, and there's quite a few places on the circuit we were quicker than him, but he was quicker than us on a few others. But what an interesting race, it was fantastic.
Andy rode absolutely fantastic. All credit to him, it's good for the sport too, to have another younger team pushing us along. I think it's great. I had to race for it.
One more race still to come, and if it's anything like that one, we should be in for a corker.
Well, the wonderful Superside cheerleaders there as Tim Tristan Reeves come onto the grid. Pat Ferrance second on the grid there with Richard Gatt, Paul Randall. One man that didn't make race one, Pekka Pivarinta and Aki Aalto. Aki was in hospital. How's he feeling now?
Can I say better? Not the best, but better.
Well, we hope he's going to be okay for the whole race. Dan Knight getting involved with the cheerleaders there. Bill Philp and Rick Long, seventh in race one. Jerry Martin and Ryan Charlwood there having their first World Championship weekend, and it's eyes down and ready for race number 2.
Gold race, 22 laps. Can't keep the girls quiet, can we? Here we go. We're on board once again with Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell, looking back this time at that number 66 outfit that's currently chasing them down. Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton.
Yeah, and Pekka Pivarinta and Aki Aalto out wide on that first kink. Coming into turn one, who is it going to be? Reeves forcing his way through. Didn't want Laidlaw to get ahead of him, did he, in that one? And looks like somebody's got a problem in the background. That's Jos Moser and Ule Waffler. They've had a bad start. But that's the number 55 machine, Mike Rosser and Adolf Harney. Little Dolphy Harney, they've had contact on that opening couple of corners, trying to rip that wheel arch off, and, well, they come off easier than that when you don't want them to.
Yeah, that's for sure, but didn't come off when he wanted it to. Obviously he's had a banging together with somebody, but Reevesy leads. Laidlaw second place, leaving the rest to fight over the third position. I think the race will be between the defending world champion and, I have to say, a young man that certainly now looks as if he could make a challenge for it.
Yeah, and one man that you don't expect to see at the back, number 91, Sebastian Delanoy. An awful qualifying, didn't start race one, or made it about 10 yards off the grid. And at the back of this race, this is a guy that's normally on the podium.
Third at the moment for Richard Gatt and Paul Randall. That's the top three. Of course, Reeves leads with his brother Tim in the chair as the rest all slither their way through this very tight little chicane.
Yeah, and you can see why it's so difficult for the passengers. We've had 7 injured passengers throughout qualifying and the opening races. Quite a few been down the road that you wouldn't expect to be. And 22 laps around this circuit, really going to play havoc with them.
Well, at the moment they're all safely through as they bunch up for the further down placings, and there is number 97 amongst that group. That's the Grabmuller brothers from Wien, or to us English-speaking Vienna. Well, there is the man with the missing sidecar mudguard. What's he going to do now, Ian?
Well, hopefully put a new mudguard on and get back out in the race, but they'll have lost the lap by the time that's sorted out, so they'll be out of the points. Disappointment for Hani. There's Pekka Pivarinta and Aki Aalto. Well, brave man Aki Aalto fell out at about 130 miles an hour in qualifying. Spent the night in hospital, not really for his injuries, but because he had an allergic reaction to the penicillin they gave him.
Well, that's not such a good thing, but he's got a fair few bruises and scars, I think. But as you say, tough guy. But sidecar drivers and passengers normally are, and these Finns are tougher than just about anybody.
Yeah, just losing a place to Ben and Tom Birchall there, so perhaps the fatigue beginning to show. But up front, Tim and Tristan Reeves ahead of Andy Laidlow, Patrick Farrance, repeat of race 1. Richard Gatt and Paul Randall going well now, up into 3rd position. And there is Ben and Tom Birchall with our onboard camera. Pivarinta behind him, and behind him his teammate Tero Manninen. Not a good weekend for Manninen, came here as championship leader. Poor qualifying, low result in race 1, but now perhaps beginning to get to grips with this tricky circuit. Just look at the pounding those machines and passengers are getting as they come down here into this quick left-hander. Tower bend, it's Birchall ahead of Pivarinta. Manninen just getting a bit of a wobble on and a big slide there. No rest for these guys either. On board with Tero Manninen. Different view from our onboard camera this time. Just listen to that screaming 1000cc Suzuki GSXR.
Well, of course, the 3rd round of this FIM World Sidecar Championship goes to Assen in Holland alongside the MotoGP, so the track, I think, will be a little bit more forgiving to these guys than this Castle Combe circuit.
Yeah, a little kinder, and I think they'll all be looking forward to that one. But Andy Laidlow and Patrick Farrance closing back up on Tim and Tristan Reeves. Reeves looking around, waving. He's a cheeky bugger.
Yeah, he's obviously... he's going to let him go through.
No, that's Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton going ahead of Andy Laidlow and Pekka Pivarinta. Yes, Pivarinta ahead of Ben and Tom Birchall again. So dice is all around this Castle Combe circuit. Great for these thousands of spectators that turned up to see the World Championship spectacle.
Into that little tight chicane area there as they all come out. It's a really good scrap beginning to develop here. Roger Lovelock there, Rick Lawrence just going through with the number 5 outfit in pursuit. But this is that battle out front for the lead, and Reevesy still has it.
Just about from Andy Laidlow. You can just see the machine snatching and bumping around on this circuit. Really difficult for the drivers as well as the passengers, just trying to hang on to the handlebars.
I have a feeling we're going to see this go on throughout the whole season between these two now, because Andy Laidlow is on a mission.
Yeah, definitely looking for his first World Championship victory. There's nobody more fired up in the paddock, apart from perhaps Tim and Tristan Reeves. Stuart Muldoon and Paul Napton up to 3rd position now. So Richard Gatt and Paul Randall dropping back from that podium position, and the Scotsman beginning to make his mark. But Laidlow now looking to line up. He's late into Tower
That's
Bend.
nice. Look at the black line he left coming through there.
Smoking those rear Yokohama tyres out of Tower Corner there. And, well, Laidlow and Farrance in the lead of a World Championship race for the first time, I think.
You might be right there, because I can't remember doing it last year. Of course, in the absence now of the multi-champion Steve Webster, and of course his passenger, they're now working very closely improving sidecar racing in the UK here. So now we've got 2 Brits out front here, and 2 Brits I think they're going to race throughout the season.
Yeah, and this is great dice as well. Steve Norbury moving up into 3rd position ahead of Richard Gatt and Paul Randall, and that's a fantastic view from that Lockside Suzuki. Number 22, Martin Van Gils with standing passenger Jarno van Lith into the pits, and it's Ben and Tom Birchall now up to 7th position as the rest, well, taking a bit of grass with them at that chicane. Tero Manninen and the machine's just bucking and weaving. Roger Body, well, my old mate Roger Body out of the race. He's lost some bodywork, so not a good day for him. Pekka Pivarinta, Aki Aalto dropping back slowly through the order. He must be hurting.
Yeah, considering the extent of the injuries to his arms and that, you've got to be right, he must be really hurting. There is the race leader, there's a back marker now between them, and that looks to have made a difference.
Yeah, and I see Pat Farrance opening his visor coming out of that corner, so the conditions, the heat here is amazing. It's over 80 degrees in the shade, so on these bikes much higher than that. So Ferrand's trying to get a bit of air. Stuart Muldoon third. Gat's got back up to fourth place ahead of Norbury. Norbury's had a moment somewhere around the back of the circuit. So this is a great scrap for the final podium position.
Well, Stuart Muldoon, always a hard charger, the Scot. Wiley Bodden, up the inside there.
Gat nearly hit Muldoon there.
And Norbury goes through, he makes good on the pair of them.
Looks like 2 places in one move, and Muldoon must have a problem. Muldoon dropped from 3rd to 5th there in one easy move. Has Muldoon got a problem?
Well, he certainly made a large mistake there, that's for sure, by going very wide and opened the door so far. You could have driven another sidecar outfit through it. Well, they actually did.
Yeah, Muldoon's sitting up and looking back there, so I don't know what the signal was. Laidlaw and Ferrand there, second position clear of the back markers, but now that looks to be a 4 or 5 second gap to Tim and Tristan Reeves. Back with Ben and Tom Birchall still involved in this great scrap for 6th position as they go up the inside of Roger Lovelock, and Bill Philp follows them through as well. So Taro Mannanen heading this group now. Ben and Tom Birchall giving chase. Bill Philp and Rick Long, they had a bad start. They were way down on the first lap, so they've really cut their way through. That's number 99, Dan Morrissey. There's 3rd position, Steve Norbury and Scott Parnell on that beautiful lockside machine. Richard Gatt and Paul Randall 4th. Where's Stuart Muldoon? I didn't see him in shot there, so Stuart Muldoon seems to be out of this one as Tim and Tristan Reeves extend their lead.
Big scrap here for that 5th position, and it's 88 that currently has it. Tiro Mannanen being pursued by I think the 2 Birchall boys are in there amongst that group, and well, there is about 5 outfits there all trying to get that position.
Yeah, definitely, and there's Muldoon's outfit on the side, so he is definitely out of this one now. Mannanen with Bill Philp and Rick Long now up into 6th position. Ben and Tom Birchall 7th. It's anybody's for the end of this race, isn't it? Any one of those 5 outfits could take that 5th position.
Well, it's not over yet. Oh, Philpy up the inside. Nice little bit of manoeuvring there by him.
Yeah, he made that one work, didn't he?
He did, rather.
And Ben and Tom Birchall looking for a way past Mannanen as well. Now this is the point of the race. The passengers are really going to make the difference. And that's Tim and Tristan Reeves. Well, they've put a lap down on Delanoy and Bido. So they're sparring partners normally, a lap behind. That must be demoralising for the Frenchman.
Yeah, for sure. Steve Norbury still in there with Scott Parnell. As you say, the passengers are getting a real hounding around this track, a real bumping, but and Reevesy comes through. They know they've done it. It's another checkered flag and another maximum set of points for the defending world champions, Tim and Tristan Reeves. Andy Laidlaw will come through with Patrick Farrance there to take the 2nd place. And looks like 36, yes indeed, Steve Norbury, Scott Parnell, direct from the Isle of Man. They're going to take 3rd.
And here comes that battle for 5th, and it's the local favourite, Roger Lovelock and Rick Lawrence, just 10 miles down the road, and they look like to take 5th. Mannanen's got a problem there. He's had some contact in that final chicane. Oh, bits flying off the machines, and well, Tim and Tristan Reeves happy, celebrating double win here at Castle Combe. Laidlaw and Farrance 2nd again. Norbury and Parnell double rostrum. Gatt and Randall quietly 4th place. Bill Philp, Rick Long up to 5th. Lovelock took 6th.
Well, there they are, and sorry guys, I do not know the telephone number of that young lady, and if I did I wouldn't give it to you anyway. Reeves there in the middle, 2 out of 2. They're getting the corks off the champagne, ready to give us a bit of a dousing. She gets a dousing as well.
We were having trouble mid-race with Stuart Muldoon and Richard Gatt, but I think keeping the pace we're keeping, I could lift my pace, and they were perhaps on the edge of theirs, so towards the end I just lifted the pace and we opened the gap up to about 4-6 seconds, I think.
Fantastic weekend. Paul came away with 40 points. It's his best weekend ever in the World Championship, and to be right on Tim now as well, pushing him. So that's probably the biggest thing for me out of the weekend, is that we're right on Tim and pushing him.
Once the fuel level started to drop, we could up the pace a bit, and it wasn't so bad. So, but yeah, it was definitely hard work. Hardest race I've had for a while. I'd just like to dedicate this race to Robin Avendon. One of our sponsors unfortunately died last Monday, and yeah, just like to give this one to him really.
Well, Tim and Tristan Reeves moved to the top of the championship ahead of Taro Mannanen and Pekka Koismanen. Andy Laidlaw and Patrick Farrance moved to 3rd. In the team standings, Team Suzuki Finland still lead, but 8 points ahead of the Eastern Airways squad.
Next round goes to Assen in Holland. Round 3, we'll see you there.